this doesn't want to shut. Good afternoon. Well, at least in the East Coast. This is December 23rd, 2024. This is the last of the series, Grounding, Grieving, Gratitude, and Grace. My name is Megan Malik, and I am the founder of A New Path. I'm walking it myself. And I acknowledge the emotional labor, the grief, and the stress and overwhelm that comes along with either planning and preparing the paperwork that go with preparing for loss, emergency, and end of life, really looking at our mortality, and when we are settling the affairs of a person that's appointed us in that role. And there's a lot of emotion that comes with that. And so the emotion that's connected to the task work. And this series is about taking a moment to pause and coming in, doing some grounding, acknowledging the grief that we all carry, especially during the holidays, and then feeling into and being with any gratitude or grace that's there. They can exist at the same time in us. And so welcome today. The practice we're going to do today is called Body and Self-Spotting, Resourcing, Body Resourcing. It comes from Brainspotting. And the idea of this is to find a place in your body that feels neutral, calm, connected, grounded, maybe even good. And so I'm just going to give you a moment to scan. You can imagine the top of your head, down, earlobes, cheeks, nose, mouth, chin, chest, arms, hands, torso, belly, maybe your bottom, or your legs, your thighs, the hamstrings in the back, knees, calves and shins, ankles, feet, soles, maybe even the tips of the fingers or the tips of the toes. Just notice. So for me, it's the soles of my feet, and I'm noticing my eyes are wanting to go up. And I notice that when my eyes are in this position, I feel my feet more, right? So in that position, everywhere we look is connected to a spot in our body. And so I'm allowing my eye gaze to go there, and I'm really attending to the secure, solid feeling that I have in my feet. So this is a process called brain spotting, where we use our eye gaze, and it's connecting to a body resource spot. And so it's allowing our body and our brains to connect and to fill up with something that feels resourcing, supportive, or neutral. And so I invite you, if it's right for you and your body, right? No push. This is invitation, to just notice if there is that spot for you. Just happen to notice where your eye gaze is while you're noticing that spot. That's often connected together. Our eyes kind of just naturally roll there when we're doing it. And just allow yourself to breathe and notice that spot together. So you can leave your eye gaze there. You can go to that position throughout the day. And also, as I go on and talk a little bit about grief, I invite you to kind of allow yourself to do that. It's a way of naturally supporting and resourcing your nervous system, if that feels right and true for you. And if it doesn't, please let it go. Everything I say, always a suggestion and invitation. So here we are. And, for many, I've said this is a time of grief and can be difficult to acknowledge. And so yesterday I was reading a piece on NPR that's entitled, "This Christmas I'll Be Grieving. Here's How I'll Be Finding Joy." And so I don't mean to suggest that you need to find joy, simply to say that sometimes there are places, the author talks about pinpricks, where we find moments of joy, a moment of hope, a moment of resource, something that maybe feels like it's supportive. Maybe it's as small as the twinkling on the trees. And, I just want to make space for the fact that if you are doing the things that you thought would feel good and they don't, and yet you're doing them anyway, and there's something there to just say that makes total sense, because there may be traditions in the holiday season that you did most of the time enjoy, and that this year it's not the activity that doesn't. There may be some shifts or changes in it that make it kind of chafe a little bit or feel a little bit sticky. And so you'll know if it's okay to stick with, be with, or if you need to let that go and walk away. Either's okay. And that in the moment of doing that, as you're with the sticky, you can just take a moment and look around and notice if there's anything, kind of like what we just did with our bodies and our eye gaze, that feels neutral or supportive, or a little bit of a pinprick of letting something a little bit nourishing, resourcing, or supportive slipping through. And sometimes people think of that feeling as hope. Sometimes they think of it as joy. Sometimes they think of it as peace. Sometimes they think of it as just a little bit of calm. And again, I invite you to know with yourself what that is. So I'm going to, for today, end with what I call hope. And this is written by Jan Richardson. This is from the book Night Visions. It's about the season leading up to Christmas. This is called Hope's Disguises. So many things disguise themselves as hope. So much crosses our threshold, promising change or relief from our present circumstance. Sometimes it becomes difficult to tell the difference between reasonable hope and misguided delusion. My mailbox, television, radio offer endless streams of the latter. Thin thighs in 30 days, fabulous wealth with no effort, a whole new image in one can of soda. The more damaging delusions are also more insidious, though they may be cloaked with good intentions. Like the night he said, "I miss you," and took my hand. How could I have known at the time that that sentence had about as much promise as, "You may have won $1 million." I must admit, I have sometimes lived for months at a time on a good delusion. It will never do for staple food, but sometimes it gets me by. At least until I get to the point where I can handle the truth, as simple or as complex as it may be. My thighs are just fine. Wealth generally takes hard work, more than luck, and soda will improve my image only to those who find themselves attracted to the belching that the soda causes. And he may miss me, but this time I'm not going to get drawn in. Hope becomes easier to recognize when we learn that it rarely comes from outside of us. More often it comes from within, emerging from the place where our deepest longings meet our willingness to make them real. In that place where hope sheds disguises, moves with grace and freedom to point us beyond our delusions toward the landscape of possibility. We see signs but cannot always divine the meanings. You call us to move forward, not always knowing whether we grasp in our hands will prove to be a seed of hope or a thorn in our flesh. Train our fingers that what brings life we may with persistence hold, and that which wastes our souls we may with grace release. So friends, over the next week and a little bit adding to the new year, may your fingers be trained to hold with persistence hope that nourishes and that gives to your soul. And may your soul release with grace that which is like the pinprick, the thorn prick that doesn't serve. May you be safe. May you be at peace. May you know that you do not walk this road alone. Peace, blessings, and namaste.